Imagine losing to a country with just over 5 million people. Sounds embarrassing, right? Yet Europe's biggest football giants are starting to fear exactly that. Norway isn't supposed to dominate world football. It doesn't have the biggest population, the richest league, or endless football history like Brazil, Germany, or Spain. So why are elite clubs suddenly filled with Norwegian stars? And why are national teams beginning to worry every time Norway steps onto the pitch? Today, Mr. So Simple will reveal how one small country quietly built a football machine that's shaking the biggest names in the sport. For years, Norway wasn't considered a football powerhouse. In fact, if you looked at international tournaments over the past 2 decades, Norway was often missing. While countries like France, Germany, Spain, and England battled for trophies, Norway struggled just to qualify. Many people believed Norwegian football simply wasn't good enough. They had passionate fans, beautiful stadiums, and hardworking players, but they lacked something that the biggest nations seemed to have, or at least that's what everyone thought. Instead of chasing quick success, Norway asked a different question. What if the problem wasn't the players? What if the problem was the system that produced them? That single question changed everything. So, what's Norway's secret? It isn't one magical academy or one superstar. It's 5 simple rules working together. Rule number 1: kids come before trophies. In many countries, youth football has become incredibly competitive. Coaches feel pressure to win every weekend. Parents celebrate league tables. Clubs recruit the biggest and strongest children because they help win matches today. Norway flipped that idea upside down. Instead of asking, "Did we win?" they ask, "Did every child improve?" Winning a match at age 10 means almost nothing if players stop developing by 16. Norway decided that learning skills, enjoying football, and building confidence were far more important than collecting youth trophies. Rule number 2: everyone plays. Imagine joining a football team but spending every game sitting on the bench. You don't improve, you lose confidence. Eventually, many children quit. Norway wanted the exact opposite. Young players receive meaningful playing time because experience creates development. Every minute on the pitch teaches positioning, decision-making, teamwork, and confidence. The result? More children stay in football for longer, creating a much larger pool of talented players. Rule number 3: coaches never stop learning. Many people think only players need training. Norway believes coaches are just as important. The country invests heavily in coaching education. Coaches study child psychology, communication, technical development, injury prevention, and modern football tactics. Instead of shouting from the sidelines, they become teachers. When thousands of children are guided by better coaches every single week, the quality of future professional players naturally increases. Rule number 4: science matters. Modern football isn't only about talent anymore. Recovery, nutrition, sleep, fitness, mental health, data analysis. Norway treats all of these as essential parts of player development. Young footballers learn healthy habits long before reaching professional clubs. By the time they enter Europe's biggest leagues, they're already familiar with the physical and mental demands of elite football. Rule number 5: creativity beats fear. In some football cultures, making mistakes is unacceptable. A bad pass earns criticism. A failed dribble gets punished. Eventually, players stop taking risks. Norway encourages something completely different. Young players are allowed to experiment, lose the ball, try impossible passes, attempt difficult skills, because mistakes aren't failures. They're lessons. Creative players become confident players, and confident players often become match winners. Now here's something even more surprising. Norway has a population of only about 5.6 million people. That's smaller than many cities around the world. Yet this tiny country continues producing footballers capable of competing against the very best. How? Because Norway doesn't rely on finding one miracle child every generation. It builds systems that help thousands of children improve together. Thousands of local clubs work under similar development principles. Coach education remains consistent. Training methods continue improving. Children enter football at young ages and stay involved because the environment remains enjoyable. Instead of searching for one superstar, they're building thousands of better footballers. And eventually, a few of those become world-class. Think about Erling Haaland, one of the world's most feared strikers. His incredible speed, strength, finishing, and movement didn't appear overnight. Now, think about Martin Ødegaard, a completely different type of player. Calm, creative, technically brilliant. One dominates through power, the other controls matches through intelligence. Different styles, same development philosophy. Then look at younger talents like Antonio Nusa and Oscar Bob. Different clubs, different positions, yet all benefiting from a football culture focused on long-term improvement instead of short-term success. That's the real story. This isn't about one superstar carrying an entire nation. It's about a system repeatedly producing elite talent. Meanwhile, many traditional football giants face different problems. Youth football often becomes business. Academies compete aggressively. Children specialize too early. Winning replaces learning. Pressure replaces enjoyment. Talented youngsters sometimes disappear before reaching their full potential. Norway tries to avoid those traps. Its football culture encourages patience. Development isn't rushed. Children aren't treated like professionals before they're ready. Instead, they gradually build technical ability, tactical understanding, physical strength, and emotional resilience. The improvements may seem small: a slightly better coach, a slightly smarter training session, a slightly healthier player, a slightly happier child. Individually, those changes don't look revolutionary. Together, over 10 or 15 years, they transform an entire football nation. That's why football experts around Europe have started paying attention. They're not asking whether Norway has talented players. They already know the answer. The bigger question is whether other countries should copy Norway's development model. Because if one small nation can consistently produce players capable of starring in the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, and the Champions League, then maybe football success isn't only about population, money, or history. Maybe it's about building better systems. Maybe the next football superpower won't be the biggest country. Maybe it'll simply be the smartest one. So, is Norway already the king of world football? Not yet. Winning major international tournaments still requires incredible depth, experience, consistency, and a little bit of luck. But that's exactly why the biggest football nations should be paying attention. Norway isn't relying on one lucky generation. It isn't depending on a single superstar. It's creating an environment designed to keep producing elite players year after year. And if that system continues improving, today's football giants may soon discover that the toughest opponent isn't always the country with the biggest population. Sometimes, it's the country with the smartest plan. The next time you watch a Norwegian player dominate on football's biggest stage, remember this: you're not just watching extraordinary talent. You're watching the result of thousands of coaches, thousands of children, years of patience, and one country that decided to build football differently. And that may be the most dangerous strategy of all. I'm Mr. So Simple. Subscribe for more football stories explained so simple.